Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and today's Wednesday, and I answer your questions on Wednesdays. So every week, people ask me questions, and I put them into a video where I basically answer the people's questions. Last week, I got some good questions, and we're going to go through them today. If you have a question you want me to answer, just put it in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer your question. This week, the questions are really great, so we'll get into it. First one is Fan for Collecting wrote, would you list the key villains of the Silver Surfer? Now, there's actually hundreds. Like, Silver Surfer has gone up against pretty much everything, even Superman at one point, which is interesting. But so there's a lot of villains associated to Silver Surfer. But the ones that I came up with a list of 10 that I thought were worthy of mentioning for the Silver Surfer. So we're going to start out with if you read the very first appearance of Silver Surfer, which I'll show you right now. Here's mine. First appearance of the Silver Surfer. Now, if you read this, you kind of get a sequential order of the villains for Silver Surfer. The very first mention of the Silver Surfer, they actually show the Skrulls as being the ones that are complaining about the Silver Surfer and potentially a threat to the Silver Surfer. So I kind of mentioned them as the first villain of the Silver Surfer. So this is Silver Surfer's first appearance, and let's take a look at the Skrulls. So where did the Skrulls make their first appearance? Well, the Skrulls made their first appearance in Fantastic Four #2. So this is Fantastic Four #2, the first appearance of the Skrulls. And if you're not familiar with the Skrulls, they're shapeshifters, and they're in Secret Invasion right now, the show. This is my signed copy, signed by Stan Lee, I believe. Yeah, Stan Lee. So, verified signature of Stan Lee. This is Fantastic Four #2, first appearance of the Skrulls. So that's the first key. The next sequential villain for Silver Surfer, if you go by Silver Surfer's perspective, it has to be that way, was actually the Human Torch. So the Human Torch actually punches the Silver Surfer, and there's a bunch of things that happen. So also, there's a bunch of characters that attack, like the Fantastic Four attack the Silver Surfer, and the Fantastic Four, they made their first appearance in Fantastic Four #1. So for the perspective of the Silver Surfer, the Fantastic Four is a villain for them. So for him, so Fantastic Four #1 is where they make their first appearance. So I just thought that was a humorous one. That was a bit of humor, but the other ones are going to be a little bit more serious. So looking forward on the on the timeline of Silver Surfer, we learned that Silver Surfer is the herald of Galactus, and it was Galactus that actually created Silver Surfer from a character known as Norman Rad, and this is the first appearance of Galactus. Now, actually, if you read it's almost a Hulk 180 versus 181 kind of situation, because if you read Fantastic Four 48, this is 49, the way it ends is they're talking about Galactus is potentially coming. Oh no, Galactus is going to come. And then at the very last page, actually 2 pages, one full page is kind of like showing the whole like space structure that is associated to Galactus, where he eats the planets, and then the last page is showing Galactus, like sort of this giant guy, and it says Galactus. So it's even more so a Hulk 180. It's better than Hulk 180 as being the first cameo appearance of Galactus, But this is always seen as the first full appearance of Galactus. And you get to see Galactus full on in here, and he is tough. And he actually kind of, there's a point where they actually challenge the Watcher. So it's really interesting. So this is Fantastic Four 49, first appearance of Galactus, the one who basically created the Silver Surfer. Okay, next is, now there's a bunch of characters that really have relationships with the Silver Surfer, and if basically Fantastic Four has a lot of them. It's pretty much the run of Fantastic Four villains become Silver Surfer's villains. So we got other characters that he had issues with would be Doctor Doom. He actually fights Doctor Doom. So Doctor Doom made his first appearance in Fantastic Four number 5. And then we get characters like Super Skrull. So you get the super powerful version of the Skrulls. And this is Fantastic Four number 18, the first appearance of the Super Skrull. I actually have a custom label one, which has the Hulk. I have no idea why they chose the Hulk, but it has nothing to do with Fantastic Four, or this issue even. So yeah, Super Skrull, first appearance of the Super Skrull, and another villain for Silver Surfer. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then another big villain for Silver Surfer is Thanos. If you watch the cartoon, it's actually really interesting. Thanos plays a pretty big role in the cartoon with Silver Surfer. And this is where Thanos makes his first appearance in Iron Man number 55. So another big issue. Lots of key characters in this book, actually. This is a pretty good, cool book. It has the first appearance of Thanos, Mentor, Drax the Destroyer, Star Fox, Kronos, and the Blood Brothers. So just a lot of characters made their first appearance in here. Another character that was in the series for Silver Surfer is the Mentor, and he was kind of a super powerful character, a good character for like an ally, I guess. So yeah, so Iron Man number 55. Another interesting, with Silver Surfer, a lot of the time he's fighting the other heralds that Galactus will create. I didn't bring one of them that I could have brought. One of the characters I was debating about bringing was Morg, who's just another cool character that potentially would have been a good one to show, because he's the second herald of, actually he's the herald after Nova, and he's used to go after Silver Surfer. But another herald is Terrax, and this is just another herald of Galactus that also goes up against the Silver Surfer. So this is Fantastic Four number 211, another key villain for Silver Surfer. And then we got the ones that actually appeared, actually one more from Fantastic Four. My bag is totally destroyed on this one. I'm looking at my bag. Look at my bag. It's just totally destroyed. Might need to replace the bag. So yeah, this is another character, kind of a major character, is we got Ronan, the Accuser, and yeah, just another enemy of the Silver Surfer. So that's Fantastic Four number 65. And one of the most famous ones that actually appeared in the Silver Surfer run, made his first appearance in the Silver Surfer run, was Mephisto. So this is Mephisto's first appearance. And this is Silver Surfer number 3, where it actually goes up against Mephisto. So yeah, those are some of them. One more that I forgot to bring the books for, actually, was Ego, the Living Planet. And Ego makes an appearance in the TV series for Silver Surfer, but also he makes an appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy #2. So that's that's one of the big villains for the Silver Surfer. And Ego actually has, again, this kind of Hulk 180, 181 kind of situation where he has two first appearances. First appearance is in Thor 132, or as a cameo, and then 133 he makes a full appearance. He's actually on the cover on 133. I actually have both books and I didn't bring them, so so yeah, I could have shown those. But those are my list of 10 kind of major villains for the Silver Surfer. So the Skrulls, Thanos, Galactus, Mephisto, Terax, Ego, Doctor Doom, Ronan, and then Super Skrull, and then Fantastic Four, the team. It was kind of one of the first groups that kind of went up against the Silver Surfer, so kind of interesting one there. Okay, that's first question. Second question comes from Kay Munin, and he wrote, out of your entire collection, which cover is your favorite? Now, that's a really hard question. There's so many comics that I would say, oh, I really like this one. So what generally happens with me is I have a bit of a flavor of the week kind of situation that happens, where I like certain comic covers that week. I'm just get excited by the fact that I have the book, and I'm this is, oh, I'm really excited to have this book. Well, the flavor of the week, the comic cover that I like the most right now, is my Phantom Lady 17. I showed this recently, actually just yesterday, but I really love this cover. It's a Matt Baker cover, headlight cover, mention is Seduction and Innocent. Just so much going for this book. I love this cover. So I think it's really cool. She's like in bondage, a whole bunch of stuff going on here. I just love this cover. Her hair's got some like life to itself. It's just really cool. So yeah, Phantom Lady number 17. This is my favorite cover for the week. It's like, ask me next week and you'll get a different answer. But yeah, that's how it works with me. I go through favorite covers all the time. Like, it's hard to really narrow down one favorite cover. Okay. Now, the next question is, what is the best comic book story you have ever read? This one's actually an interesting one. So I have had two that kind of came to mind right off the bat. So those two, I guess, would be the ones that had the most memory for me. One being Amazing Fantasy 15, the story for how Spider-Man, the origin of Spider-Man, has the great line, with great power comes great responsibility. It's just a great story. It's a pretty awesome story. So that one was on my mind, but that's not the one I chose. The story that I chose, and I don't have the book for it, I gave it away, which is so weird. I don't usually give away my comics, but this was a special reason that I gave away this comic, and I'll explain. The story is The Second Richest Duck. And it's an Uncle Scrooge story. So this is a story that I grew up with as a kid. It was one that actually kind of inspired me to read. So it sounds weird, but my brother actually was the one that said, oh, this is my favorite Uncle Scrooge story. And, he would tell me about the story, and I get excited by it. And it just sounded like such a cool story, and it encouraged me to read comics. So that is kind of why it's my favorite story, but I'll tell you the story. It's actually an interesting story. Basically, if you understand the character of Uncle Scrooge, he is a guy that's just horrible about, he's like super frugal is the best way to say it. And he, for example, when he doesn't buy the newspaper, even though it's like 20 cents or whatever it was, 5 cents at the time maybe, he would go out and he would go to the park and look for people's discarded newspapers and read those. So in the story, he basically does that, and he finds there's a newspaper with the story, "The Richest Duck in the World." And he's like, "What? I'm the richest duck in the world." And it's talking about some other duck. And it's talking about Flintheart Gromgold. And basically, this duck lives in South Africa, is a diamond miner, you know, and is super, super wealthy. And and Uncle Scrooge is like, "Well, I'm wealthier than him. There's no way that this guy can be wealthier than me." So he goes to his accountant and finds out how much money does he have. And this is where you actually learn how much money does Uncle Scrooge have. And I actually had to write it down. I actually had to research this because I don't remember all the details of the story. But it was 1 multi-plugillion, 900 obsquatumatillion, $623.62. So I thought that was interesting, 62 cents thing. And that's how much he has. So when he learns that he has this much money, he thinks, hey, I actually have more than this other guy. So he actually goes all the way to South Africa to meet this other guy. And he actually sends a telegram, but it's one of those telegrams where you have to pay for it. Like the receiver has to pay for the telegram. So he sends it, but because he doesn't want to pay for the telegram. He sends a telegram saying, "Hey, I'm coming, I'd like to meet with you to discuss who has more money." And of course, the other duck is just as stingy and frugal as Uncle Scrooge, so he refuses to pay for the telegram. So he doesn't know that they're coming. And so they both get there, and he's like, strangely, they were able to get in to meet this other duck. And Uncle Scrooge brings receipts for all of his wealth so that they can compare who is the richest duck. And he also brings something that he collects string. And basically, because he's so frugal, he keeps, like, if he finds like a little piece of string, he'll tie it to his big ball of string. So he just has this huge, massive ball of string. And so they basically have a competition where they realize they look at the math and they have the exact same amount of money except for the ball of string. So they basically say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take our string, and whoever can go across South Africa with this ball of string, and whoever has the most string at the end of that march across South Africa will win. So they go across South Africa with their big balls of string, and everything that you can imagine that could possibly go wrong happens with their balls of strings. Like a bird takes their strings, a rhinoceros charges their strings, locusts attacks their strings like have to avoid fire. It's just like everything that could go wrong does go wrong. And so by the end of it, they take their strings, like what's left, and then they compare. And it looks like there's very little left of their balls of string by this point. But Uncle Scrooge has, around his lucky dime, he has some of the string tied around it. And that little extra length of string that was wrapped around his dime gives him the edge, and he wins. So it's just a fun story. It's a bit of an adventure story. It's one that you get to learn the psyche of Uncle Scrooge. It's just a fun story, written by Carl Barks. He's a master, and just a fun story. It was featured in Uncle Scrooge number 15 from 1956, and it's just a cool book. So that's the one that I kind of have the most memory of. Now, I actually owned a copy of that book, and I gave it to my brother as a gift. I think I gave it as a birthday gift to him, or a Christmas gift. Because I knew that he really liked that story. So I actually searched for it and found it for him, and then gave it to him. I'm actually thinking of getting another copy because I love the story so much. So that is that's my story. I'm sticking with it. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions you would like to ask, well, you can put them in the comments below. And thanks again for watching. Bye for now.